I would like to start by thanking NTF staff for allowing us to join Table Talk. This is an opportunity for our industry to learn about all our companies and how do they support our industry. So thank you for NTF staff. My name is Jihad Douglas, and I'm responsible for Aviagen Turkeys, located in Lewisburg, West Virginia, and Select Genetics, located in Wilmore, Minnesota. What is Aviagen Turkeys? Aviagen Turkeys is known as the primary breeder in our industry. I've learned this since I joined the primary breeding industry over 30 years ago. But what is a primary breeder? A primary breeder is where we keep our pure lines. This is where we keep our gene pool. And this is where we do all our R&D work that supply the genetic progress for our industry. So the R&D is where they focus on improving, as I said, improving the lines that supply our industry. And you heard me say that before at NTF meetings where I would like, or we would like to be the first in our industry. We would like to be first in coming up with innovative ideas. And this goes all the way back to when George Nicholas started the company in the mid-30s in Sonoma, California. We are lucky to be associated with Aviagen chickens. And the reason I say we're lucky we're associated with Aviagen chickens because if you look at our turkey industry by itself, the turnover for the primary breeder is under $100 million. So if we want to invest in R&D, we are limited, even if we take 10, 15% of our turnover and try to improve and invest in our R&D program and improve our lines, we're not going to make much progress. So we're associated with Aviagen chicken, with Aviagen Group, and this way they can screen technologies for us, and then we can try to use that technology to improve our turkeys. For example, from imaging, for example, right now we are the leaders in imaging for breast meat yield. And that's because the chicken guys have done that imaging for years ahead of us. Another important function of the primary breeder is to secure the supply of the genetics for our industry. In our case, we have two breeding programs, one in Chester and one in the UK. And they are duplicate, basically, programs with different lines, but also they have different gene pool. And they are built to supply worldwide, but also within a location. For example, in Lewisburg, West Virginia, we have about 23 farms, and they are scattered across West Virginia in order to avoid putting all our lines or all our gene pool in one or two farms. This is too risky. And many times you hear me saying that we are the model of inefficiency. And the reason is we put small farms and small populations rather than big populations and reduce the supply risk for our industry. So that's why we do that, two different locations, spread across within location to maintain our supply for our industry. So the functions, in summary, the functions of the primary breeder is core business would be R&D. We invest a lot in R&D, secure the supply of genetic material for our customers, have a sustainable program that meets today's expectations and the future generations, and also have the people that provide the technical support as our genetic material or our genetic lines get better and better. Shifting gears, I would like to talk about Select Genetics. In the early years, many people asked us, why would a primary breeder be interested in the middle segment of our supply chain? We saw an opportunity. And the reason we saw that opportunity is because we worked so hard on our R&D program to improve our genetic lines, and we want that genetic improvement to pass to our end user. We felt like that middle segment of our supply chain, which we know it's called the multiplier segment, or it is called the breeder division of an integration, we saw an opportunity to invest in that supply chain in every aspect almost, from farming to supply of poults, by better trucks, and so on. And that's why we formed Value of the Moon about 10 years ago. We built new farms, we built new hatchery, and as time progressed, there was an opportunity to get even better by merging with Woodmar and Ag Forte. And we did that about 5 years ago, and that's why we have today Select Genetics. So Select Genetics is an integral part of the supply chain, and to make it very successful and very efficient, we had to invest. So what we've done in the last 10 years, number one, we built new hatcheries. We have 2 new hatcheries, one in Indiana, one in Iowa. And we looked at our current hatchery makeup. For example, Wilmar Hatchery was getting old, and it is an old hatchery. So right now we're renovating that hatchery, putting brand new machines. We also realized that we truck poults long distances, from point A in the Midwest all the way to the East Coast, or it could be to the West Coast. We immediately realized that our fleet is not where it should be, and this is where we invested a lot of money by acquiring Smithway, poult trailers, and now we have the most modern fleet in the industry. Also, very important function as the demand and the requirements change over time, that we build our new farms. So we started building new farms in Minnesota. We are building new farms in Missouri. And the way we're building those new farms is basically typical to how we build our grandparent farms. We want them to be easy to wash, easy to disinfect. The amount of concrete we're putting on those farms is amazing. But in my opinion, I tell my team that's the only way I can tell the farm is clean. I can power wash it, hose it, disinfect it, and I can look at it, and it is clean. So I'm excited that we are able to invest in those new farms. So for us, we now have a supply chain that's kind of integrated from the genetic improvement all the way to the end user. How did we accomplish that? We accomplished that because of our shareholders. We are lucky that we have shareholders that are willing to invest. No matter what your vision and strategy, sometimes, in your head, if you don't have the support, you would, have a hard time accomplishing it. In our case, our shareholders, they think of generational investment. They've been in the breeding business for a long time, since the 60s. So they are third-generation investors, and they are thinking about the fourth generation. So it's exciting to be part of that model and have the ability to invest in infrastructure to supply our industry. In my opinion, there is no option but to invest and get better if we are to compete with other proteins. So if every one of us in the supply chain focus on their core business and invest in their core business, that would be wonderful. At the end of the day, we have the most balanced protein out there. So if we invest in our infrastructure and our customer invest in their meat processing, that's a perfect synergy for us and our customers.